growth occurs internally from the inner side. But in non-living, what we find, due to accumulation of substances, due to accretion, growth occurs. So again growth. So problem is that since non-living, in non-living also growth can be shown. That's why growth is not a defining feature of life, right? So remember, it is not a defining feature of life. Is that clear? So growth is not a defining feature of life, but remember, growth occurs in every living organism. Is that clear? Next point you see, next point we say reproduction. Now what is reproduction and why reproduction is necessary? Ask one question to anybody, answer will be no. What is the question? Huh? No. Ask one question. Question is what? Want to die? Do you want to die? What will be the answer? A person going to die, ask him, want to die? He will also say no. That means what? From the inner part of our sense, we have a wish not to die. Yes or not? So in case of every living organism, it is true. No living organism want to die. They want to live forever. But this is not possible. So in that case, what is possible? What alternative? When I will not be there, a representative of me should be there. So the concept is reproducing one's own self. That is reproduction. Is that clear? So that's why reproduction is. So this is the unique feature. Remember, unique feature of living organism. Other than living organism, you cannot find reproduction, right? It is a unique feature of living organism, but yet not a defining feature. Clear? So, but not a defining feature. Why not a defining feature? Because many organisms, they do not reproduce. Now, say worker bee, workers of honeybee, ant and wasps. Right, workers of honeybee, ants and wasps, they don't reproduce. Sterile human couple, right? Mule, hinny, they are also sterile, right? So since all these organisms, they do not reproduce, so we do not consider reproduction is a defining feature of life. Is that clear? So it is not a defining feature, but it occurs anywhere. Now see, it occurs in living organism. Another interesting point is what? In unicellular organism, what happens in unicellular organism? How growth occurs? Due to cell division. How growth occurs? Due to cell division. How reproduction occurs? Due to cell division. That means growth and reproduction are all inclusive properties for unicellular organism. So write it down, give a star mark and write growth and reproduction are all inclusive properties for unicellular organisms. Is that clear? But in case of multicellular organism, growth and reproduction are exclusive properties, right? So exclusive properties for multicellular organisms. Right. So this is important point. Note it down. Have you written?
Yep.
Very good. So this is about growth and reproduction. Next, another term is there that is called metabolism. What is metabolism? What is metabolism? Anabolism, plus catabolism. So what does it mean? What is anabolism? Constructive metabolism. What is catabolism? Destructive metabolism. So when you say metabolism, that means all the chemical reactions or some of all the chemical reactions running within the body is called metabolism. Is it clear? Sum total of all the chemical reactions running inside the body or cell comes under metabolism. It is of how many types? Two types. Kiki? Anabolism and catabolism. Right. So anabolism is constructive, catabolism is destructive. Some reactions are there which are both anabolic as well as catabolic. Example? Respiration. Respiration is both anabolic as well as catabolic or not? During respiration, photosynthetic product is broken down. So it seems to be a catabolism. But the pathway, in this pathway, so many carbon skeletal they generate. These carbon skeletal, they form other products. Okay, other main products. Say glutamic acid is obtained from alpha ketoglutarate acid. When amino group will join, then it will produce what? Alpha ketoglutarate acid. So this alpha ketoglutarate acid again can give rise to other amino acids. So this is, in this way, what happens? The catabolic work, metabolic work, anabolic work, both are combined in respiration. Is that clear? Now, anabolism minus catabolism is what? Anabolism plus catabolism is metabolism. Anabolism example, photosynthesis you can write. Anabolism. Photosynthesis you can write anabolism. And digestion you can write catabolism. Anabolism minus catabolism is equal to growth. Oof. Growth is equal to anabolism minus catabolism. Okay, so this is growth. Whatever it is surplus will give us growth. So what is metabolism? Sum total of all the chemical reactions running within the body or cell, right? Is metabolism a defining feature? How? Is metabolism a defining feature? Yes, definitely, because metabolism means what? It may be anabolism, it may be catabolism, right? So this is the chemical reactions which is conducted by the bacteria, and at the end part you will find this is further been elaborated. Many other points are there. So metabolism, anabolism plus catabolism. So metabolism means when our bodily processes are running. Now, so metabolism means what? When our bodily processes are running. So this is about metabolism. Is that clear? Can you remember this point? Next is what? Key? No. Next is response to stimuli. Yes, very good. So there is a consciousness. What is the name? Consciousness. So if it is consciousness, what does it mean? Remember, response to stimuli is consciousness. Every organism has some consciousness. But other than response to stimuli, another point is also very important. During consciousness, what happens? Sometimes we make opinion. That opinion making capacity of the human being is having. Okay, only human beings have this opinion making capacity. Clear? And so this is about consciousness. You write it down, consciousness. It is the response towards stimuli. Right? It is the response towards stimuli. What is stimuli? Stimuli is a disturbance. What is stimuli? Stimuli is a disturbance. So after consciousness, next is what? Now in human being, what we find? Self-consciousness. Only humans have self-consciousness. Rest organisms have consciousness. Is that clear up to this much? Now what is self-consciousness?
Ability to react.
Okay?
Ability to react.
Ability to react. And in consciousness, what are you doing?
Self-consciousness, I think it is the ability to react involuntarily.
Involuntary. Now, any other point? If I say that at last night at around 12:15 p.m. sunrise has occurred, will you believe? That means what? You have an opinion and you are not accepting my data or opinion, whatever it may be. That means this opinion making capacity is called self-consciousness. Is that clear? You have your own opinion on a particular ideology or thing. That means what? Self-consciousness. Is that clear? Another last point is what? Cellular organization. Write it down. All the living organisms are made up of cells and their products. All the living organisms are made up of cells and their products. Over. So you have written all the important aspects of living organisms. Now, growth, metabolism, everything. Now next point is what? When we know that so many different organisms are there surrounding us, so automatically there starts a moral responsibility that we should know about these organisms. Now, we should know how many different organisms are there in this earth. And when we have started calculating, then we have found 1.7 to 1.8 million. How many? 1.7 to 1.8 million organisms are totally discovered, and they have been given a proper name. Okay, you have to write means up to naming. You have to go. So every living organisms have a name, and these names are written in italics, or underlined in Roman letters. Okay, underlined separately. So to indicate their Latin origin. And all the plants are given a scientific name. Okay. Some of them we know, some of them we do not know, but so when it is what we identify, then we basically have to give a name. Now see, what are the distinct steps? So this is called taxonomy. Na? So when so many different organisms are there, we need to classify them. Now, out of 1.7 million total organisms, we find 1.2 millions are animals. 1.2 million means how many lakhs? 12 lakhs, right? So out of 12 lakhs, 10 lakhs 25,000 are what? Insects only. Is it clear? Out of this 1.2 billion, 10 lakhs 25,000 are insects only. Out of 1.7 million, 0.5 millions are key. 0.5 millions are toxic. Plants. Are plants. Now there is a common point. Why number of plants and animals we compare, the number of plants are much less than number of animals. What is the reason? Huh? Yeah. Huh? Animal skills. Actually what happens is, let's say people first, we find that number of plants are less than the total number of animals. This is mainly because in plants two things are absent. First is what? First is plants don't have sense organs. Since sense organs are absent, they cannot sense their surrounding environments, so cannot show that much adaptation. They cannot understand even what is actually happening in the nearby environment. So under that condition, they cannot show that huge amount of changes. Second point is what? They are immobile. They are immobile. सब चला गया, ये ज़र कहाँ गया? Plants do not have sense organs. They are immobile, so automatically their natural death occurs faster. Now, out of 1.2 million or 12 lakhs, 10 lakhs 25,000 are insects. Why the insects number is so big? Why the number of insects so high? Out of 10, you will find 7. Out of 10 animals, 7 are insects. Why this is so? Because insects, they have two advantages. In their body, they can store reserve food. In the body, they can store reserve food. So in unfavorable condition also, they can store reserve food within their body. Is that clear? And in case of insects like cockroaches, the body is dorsiventrally flattened. They can hide anywhere. And most importantly, the body wall of insect, except the gut region, rest everywhere there is a covering of pectin. There is a covering of pectin. Just in the mid-gut, food is absorbed. That food is maintaining the rest. But rest you will find completely dependent on the mid-gut. Is this clear? Acha. So this is about plants and animals. So plants have animals. Okay, insects have additional covering. Na? If insects have in extra covering of chitin. Chitin is hard and it has extra coating of covering of chitin. So that is another reason why number of insects is so high. Next, you write some interesting points. Carolus lineus, C-A-R-O-L-O-U-S, Carolus lineus. Is called father of taxonomy. Over. Now check it here. So diversity is there, na? So much diversity is there. So we need to classify them. If we do not classify them, then it will be very difficult for us to study them properly. So when we classify, then we have to follow a taxonomy, na? What is taxonomy? Systematic arrangement of all the plants and animals. Now there is a who is the father of taxonomy? Carolus Linnaeus, right? So how many steps are there in taxonomy? 4. Key is it? First step?
Identification.
Number 1 is characterization.
Identification, nomenclature.
Then characterization, identification, then classification, then nomenclature. Remember it in chronology, maintaining chronology. Characterization, that means hands or legs or body hair, the spina, mammary glands, all these things are present, that means it is mammal. Right? So in this way you will characterize. So this is characterization. After characterization, next is what? So characterization will help us to identify that organism. After identification, can you give a name? You cannot give if you do not classify. Up to genus you must know. Up to generic name you must know. You can give only species name. Right? All the genus are already been discovered. You can give maximum a species name. So under that condition, you need to know how it has been classified. Right? After classification, you will go for what? Over. क्या लिखा है? Term taxonomy. अच्छा, taxonomy is based on these 4 points. Next you write term taxonomy was derived from Greek or Latin? Greek or Latin. Right. Term taxonomy was derived from which one? Greek or Latin term? Taxonomy is a Greek term. Term taxonomy was derived from Greek. And systematics. Systematics. Term systematics was derived means systematics. Systematics. In systematics, what can we find? Systematic is equal to taxonomy plus phylogeny. Okay, taxonomy plus phylogeny. What is phylogeny? Evolutionary relationship. Evolutionary relationship. Write it down. Systematics is the taxonomy plus phylogeny. Systematic is a Latin term, right? Systematic is a Latin term. Over to taxonomy and systematic. Systematic is a which term? Latin term, and taxonomy is Greek term. Okay, remember. Who is father of taxonomy? Carolus Linnaeus. Who is father of botany? Yeah. Father of botany, right? Theophrastus. Theo. Over. So, systematic is taxonomy plus phylogeny. Theophrastus is the father of botany, who has given biological species concept. Biological species concept was given by Ernst Mayr. Ernst Mayr has given biological species concept, right? Who has given the term species? Term species was coined by John Ray. John Ray. Is this clear? John Ray has given the term species. Ernst Mayr has given the concept of biological species. Now, when we define this is a biological species, अरे नहीं जाता, ये बहुत खराब है. When you say biological species, right, then how will you define that this particular species, this group of organism, we should consider them as a species? So what should be the definition? Should be similar in what, which aspect? Appearance. And you know, monkeys and we are also similar in many aspects. Ancestors. Then how do you know that ancestors are same or not? If ancestors are same, then also we sometimes do not consider them as the same species. Huh? Most important factor, most important. If one or sorry, two organisms are belonging to the same species, then only one definition is given. They must be reproductively isolated from other group. Point is clear or not? Now, why reproduction or sexual mode of reproduction is considered as the basis of defining what? Species. Why not other? She is saying morphology. Why not morphology?
So interspecies reproduction doesn't happen.
Huh?
So interspecies reproduction doesn't happen.
Interspecies reproduction, sometimes it occurs also. It is also sometimes possible. But main point is that when some organism can reproduce amongst themselves, that means they can share all the characters, yes or not?
Yes, sir.
Just giving some morphological appearance of human beings. When British has colonized Africa, right? So what is the body color of British?
White.
Bright white, right? And what is the body color of African peoples? Dark black. So bright white, dark black, and there were some marital relationship, right? Next generation has become what? In between, a brown color in between. In between a brown color we have got. Now when two brown they marry, then in the next generation what has happened? There are so many contrasts. Clear? Pure white is also there, pure black is also there. Again so many shades of darkness are there. Now what is happening here? Will you consider all of these different shades as different species? No. That means morphology cannot be considered as the basis. Is that clear? Because once one organism can share the gene pool, they are having the access of everything. So that is the main point, that sexual mode of reproduction, why it is considered, because through sexual mode of reproduction one can share the gene pool. Then one can share all the characters, right? That's why sexual mode. Now here again there is a twist. In case of horse, horse crossed with the donkey, what happens? If the horse is male, donkey is female, what is the term? We say that animal as hinni. If horse is male, donkey is female, then we say it is a mule. Now in this case, breeding is natural. This kind of breeding you can find in nature, normally occurring. Normally horses and these donkeys, they go for mating. Breeding is natural, but offsprings are sterile. Is that clear? Since offsprings are sterile, so we are not considering horse and donkey as the same species. Is that clear? So you have to add this point also. If they should have the capability to produce a fertile offspring, right? So they should not only having the capacity to interbreed, but also must produce fertile offsprings, right? Now in case of fertile offspring also again there is a problem. What is the problem? You will see tiger and lion. When tiger is male and lion is female, offspring is called tigon. When tiger is female and lion is male, offspring is called liger. Now tigon and liger, these two are fertile. Tiger and lion are the same species. Will you consider tiger and lion as the same species? We never consider, no? We never consider. That means what? If tiger and lion, though they are producing fertile offsprings, then why they are being rejected? Point is, fertile offsprings, okay. But breeding is not natural. This type of breeding is artificially done, or in captivity these are done by force. So these are not considered as what? Natural method of breedings. So fertile offsprings, though they produce fertile offsprings, but since breeding is not natural, we are not considering tiger and lion as the same species. So what should be the definition of biological species? Groups of, you finish, you write this part. जल्दी 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 Over. So you write biological species concept next. Biological species concept. Species are groups of naturally interbreeding organisms which can produce fertile offsprings. Which can produce fertile offsprings. Is that clear? So what is a species? Groups of naturally interbreeding organisms which can produce fertile offsprings. I think this is clear to you what is species concept. Now next you come to another point. In taxonomy, how many steps are there in taxonomy? Kiki? Again repeat. Characterization, identification, classification, nomenclature. 4 steps are there. Now nomenclature is very important. For any single organism, you will find so many different names are there in different areas. So in science it is a problematic situation. One species must have a common name so that everybody can use that name, and that's why there is a necessity to give a scientific name. So when this necessity was felt for the first time, then a naming process has started. That is called, actually it has been started by Lamarck. So that is called polynomial nomenclature. Polynomial nomenclature, how it is, you see, one name has so many different parts. So if we can remember the name, you can identify the plant. Means you can, identifiable characters are there within the name only. Clear? So you know world famous chess player from South India, what is his name? Vishwanath Anand. So what is his name? Vishwanath? Vishwanath is his father's name. And his name is not Vishwanath Anand, his name is a very big name. So last part is Anand. Anand is his name. Vishwanath is his father. And before that another part is there that indicates his village name. That means what? If you can remember the name without asking anybody, you can directly reach his home. So the name itself is working as an NRC. Is it not? So, or your Aadhaar card. Nah? Name itself is working as an Aadhaar card. So that is the point here. So in this case what is happening? In this case polynomial nomenclature it is good, but main problem is there to remember such a big name. So one scientist, his name is Gaspar Bauhin, not Gemau, Gaspar Bauhin. Gaspar Bauhin, he has written a book, its name is Pinax. In this book, for the first time, he has mentioned there is necessity to write names in 2 parts. Afterwards, what has happened? Carolus Linnaeus, he has started following it. In 1737, he has written a book, Philosophia Botanica, where all the rules of nomenclature he has mentioned. In 53, he has written, at that time, all the plants, whatever is known at that time, around 5,000 plants, he has identified them and defined them. All the taxonomical features he has defined and named them. Right. In this way, so many different animals, whatever they are known at that time, he has named, and together along with the plant's name, the animals' names are also published in 1758 in the book Systema Naturae. In which year? in which year? 1758, in the 10th volume of Systema Naturae. In the 10th volume of Systema Naturae, what they have done? In the 10th volume of Systema Naturae, all the names of plants and animals known at that time were published. So that's why this name is very important, Systema Naturae. Okay, this name is important for you. So this is who is the scientist? It's Carolus Linnaeus. It's Carolus Linnaeus. So that's why he is also known as father of taxonomy. Now see, Carolus Linnaeus, he has done tremendous work in taxonomy, but what has happened when he grew older, then he has also started doing some anomaly. Say one name he has given earlier, later on he has found this name is not suitable with his character, so have changed this name. Again after a few days, again he has changed name also. So many times he has done this thing. That's why what has happened, later on in 1961, people have felt that actually the work of Lamarck also need to be refined, and there are also some restrictions needed to be paused. So one organism main target was what? To give them only one name, but ultimately during this condition what has happened? So many names it is having. One given by Linnaeus, earlier one name, later on another name, in this way. So to restrict these things, in 1961 one board has been established that is called ICBN. What is the full form?
International Board of Botanical Nomenclature.
Yes. ICBN is established in which year? 1961. And ICZN has been established in 1964. International Code of Zoological Nomenclature. Is that clear? ICZN. So ICBN and ICZN, now they have started formulating all this naming process and all. So ICBN has already it is established few rules of nomenclature, and in rules of nomenclature few rules are given, only 4 rules are given. First you will find that one name must have how many parts? 2 parts. Generic name and specific epithet, isn't it? So 2 parts, generic name and specific epithet. Now here's what? The generic name always starts with capital letter. Now generic name always starts with capital letter. Species name always starts with small letter. Next is what? The names should be underlined if it is handwritten. The name should be underlined if it is handwritten, and it should be underlined if it is handwritten, or it should be typed in italic. If it is typed, then it should be typed in italic. Next is what? the names, why it is to be italic? The names are actually either derived from Latin or are Latinized. Clear? Say instead of writing India, we are writing Indica. Okay, so names are either derived from Latin or are Latinized. Now why Latin? What is the plus point in Latin? Why not in any other language? Why not in English or any other language? Just to avoid confusion. See, if it is written in a particular language, then it will give facilities to these peoples, and rest of people of the world, they will not follow this. They say, it is in this particular language, they are having all the facility, why should follow? It must be written in our language. So there will be a fighting again. So to avoid this, if it is Latinized, then Latin is a dead language. Nobody in the world uses Latin. So Latin is a dead language, that's why it has been written in Latin, so that to avoid any kind of chaos. Is that clear? Now you will find after species name, another author's name is also written, and the author's name is neither written in italic nor written, nor underline is given, right? Nor it starts with small letter. So it is normally written, it is written in normal Roman, right? So after the Mangifera indica, you will write lin, either in abbreviated or in full form, right? Either you write Linnaeus or you write lin, right? So it indicates Linnaeus. So these are some of the rules of nomenclature given. Can you remember? First is what? Generic name, specific epithet, two part. Next, capital letter. Species name starts with small letter. Very good. Next, name should be underlined separately or should be typed in italic. Why? To indicate their Latin origin. Why? To indicate their Latin origin. Is that clear? Next is what? Names are either derived from Latin or are Latinized. Okay, the names are either derived from Latin or are Latinized. So these are some points of nomenclature, rules of nomenclature. What is the time? At what time it will be over? 5:30, I think. So up to this much it is clear. Next is taxonomic hierarchy. In taxonomic hierarchy, what we find? Altogether 7 obligate taxa are there. What is taxa? Taxa may be a group, it may be a category, it may be a rank. Clear? Taxa may be a group or category or may be a rank. Okay. Now obligate taxon, how many obligate taxa are there? 7. 7 obligate taxa. And how many intermediate? And 21 intermediate taxa are present. Now which 7 obligate taxa we are talking about? First is kingdom. Next, phylum or division. Is that clear? Number 3, class, order, family, yeah, genus and species. So which one is the smallest? Species. Where you find maximum similarities? The similarities. Means species. You are human, I am also human. So between us we are getting maximum similarities, right? So within kingdom, that means all the plants, all the animals are kingdom. Then you and caterpillar same. Is there any similarities? No. So within the species, that means from species to kingdom, if we move, we find maximum dissimilarities, right? So towards lower side you will find maximum similarities. Over. So obligate taxon how many? 7. Do you have your NCERT book? Acha. And in next class you try to bring the book. In page number 11 in NCERT book there is a chart given. The full form of a full classification of man, Drosophila. 2 more plants are given, right? So you will see. So Mangifera indica, right? Mangifera indica. This is a full name. So here Mangifera represents the generic name. Indica represents species name. Okay, very good. Then family Anacardiaceae. You can't read this, ना? अच्छा चलो इसको Anacardiaceae. Remember, family ends with ACEAE. Anacardiaceae, Poaceae, Liliaceae, Solanaceae means what? ACEAE. So family ends with ACEAE. Can you remember? Now family comes under whom? Family comes under order? Yes or not? So order, what is the order? Sapindales. Sapindales. Order Sapindales. Next is what? Order comes under class. Now Mangifera indica is monocot or dicot? Class comes under division. Division comes under kingdom. So class is what? Dicotyledone. Dicotyledone comes under angiospermy. And the kingdom comes under, kingdom is plenty. No, plenty. So in this way, it is given, and this chart is very important from 16, 17, 22, means lots of questions are being asked. Okay, so around 6 questions are already asked in NEET exam only, and in PMT also some questions are being asked. So this is very important. Musca domestica, so that thing are been given. So you have to memorize this. You have to need to write it down. So afterwards, what is next? So this is about taxonomy, hierarchy, right? Hierarchy, and here, if you read this portion carefully, you can prepare 2 schematic diagrams. Okay, say in species, it is given Solanum tuberosum plus Solanum melongena plus Solanum tuberosum. Now, so these are genus. All comes under the name Solanum. All comes under Solanum. Solanum and say Datura comes under Solanaceae family. So in this way you will find one complete schematic diagram is given. In this way, one schematic diagram for animal, one for plants are given. Say Panthera tigris, Panthera Leo. So in this way, and Panthera pardus, 3 lines are given. Felis catus, cat. So they are having everything different, but from a particular point from carnivore onward, you can find they are showing some similarities. So this is what they also show some analogy. So this is clear. Taxonomic hierarchy. Taxonomic hierarchy is important, and that particular chart you remember. Okay, try to memorize. After this, what is next?
Taxonomical aids.
Taxonomical aids. Taxonomical aids you will discuss in the next class. And here up to this portion you check properly. You have not brought the module, other module or your this is what NCERT book. Otherwise, I could show you the, what is the schematic diagram I have to do. You draw this, draw like this, and here say under Solanum you have got 1, 2, 3, these 3. Solanaceae, so one is under Solanaceae. Petunia, most probably you have got in other. Solanaceae convolvulaceae, they comes under Polymoniales. Polymonial comes under Dicotyledone. Dicotyledone comes under Angiospermy. Okay. Okay. Just read this part. Thank you. कहाँ पे हो? क्या करना है?
ऐसा काम मेरा चलेगा तो मुझे घर जाना है। ऐसे तो मेरे आज का नहीं मिला सारा एक पॉइंट पे तुम लिख देते थे कि नहीं लग सारा ऑलमोस्ट पैदा ठीक है मैं क्या कर सकता हूँ हम लोग सीट चेंज नहीं करेंगे ठीक है इधर बैठेंगे जब वो लोग आएंगे तो एडजस्ट करेंगे बोला बोले कितना घंटा बाकी है बेटा 4 इधर आ गए हम लोग ज़्यादा हम चलो हम काम करा हाँ ज़्यादा चलेंगे मॉड्यूल्स वगैरह जाओगे नहीं से पूछ के नहीं ये मेरा है हाँ तो और तुम्हारा नहीं दिया ना ये नहीं दिया ना क्यों नहीं लगता कल फिजिक्स फिजिक्स तो पता ही नहीं तुम अच्छी मतलब सही सही ले लेते ना जी हमारी तो कभी ऐसी रैंक नहीं आएगी भैया जी हम लोग का तो सिलेक्शन हो जाए वही तो जीएमसी से बहुत कुछ ना तुम हरियाणा से इतनी दूर बॉन्डी कैसे करने आए नहीं मेरे भाई पापा ये जॉब करता ना अच्छा अरुणाचल में दोनों ही दोनों वर्क करते हैं क्या करते पेरेंट्स father works but mom is a housewife छोटा सा जल्दी जल्दी आती जल्दी जल्दी खत्म करो ना और लेकिन मैथ्स सॉरी ऑनलाइन व्यूवर्स डोंट माइंड तेरा नंबर है 7 यस हीरो वाला 10 का में कौन बोला है ना ये है ना 192 नो आई कैन कॉल यू वेरी वेरी पर्सन अच्छा नहीं आगे नहीं है दोनों ही डॉक्टर है नहीं मेरे से पापा वैसे एक्सरा जेरेबिन था लोग मैथ्स में